So this video we are going to talk about something called data loading. Okay, let's understand what is data loading, right? What do you mean by data loading, and where exactly we need to do this data loading job as an admin. Okay, see, Salesforce is a kind of a database. Salesforce is a CRM, which is nothing but a database only, where customer, they are going to put all their business data into Salesforce, right? So now you might get a customer who were actually using some other CRM, or maybe they were using Excel spreadsheet, and they have moved to Salesforce. Now when they have moved to Salesforce, do you think they are they're just starting the business? No, they must have started their business earlier, and they must have like lots of existing data. Salesforce, maybe they are starting from today, but they do have a lot of old customers data, orders data, payment data, and all the different data, right? So old data that they already have in some other system, you as an admin have to load into the Salesforce CRM after the customer goes live, right? If it is a scratch development project that you are taking apart, you as an admin, once you are done with the development, once your project, your application is live, it is your job to ask the customer, hey, give me your old customer data so that I can put it into the Salesforce CRM, right? So now what happened? Let's say, for an example, suppose the customer is actually using Salesforce to manage their service data. The customer, they have like so many service agents whose job is to pick up the customer's call and give them solution. Or maybe the customers are raising cases through email, so these are the support executive whose job is to talk to the customer and solve the problem. Suppose the customer data is already there in the old legacy CRM. Now after your application, the application that you have already built, after your application goes live, the agent who should be talking to their customer through the Salesforce CRM, they must have the customer data existing in that CRM. Correct? So this is where you need to load the data. This is where you have to ask the customer, can you please provide us the legacy data? You have to get the data, put it in a Excel or CSV file and load it inside Salesforce. So data loading is a mandatory activities that we almost do very frequently for almost every project, right? So every project, without data loading, there's no project. So you as an admin, it's kind of your job to take care of the data loading part. Another example to understand the data loading is, let's say the sales executives are putting up a campaign and they are capturing the customers, the interested customer, I mean people who are stepping into the campaign now, their data inside an Excel. Now every day thousands of customers, they are stepping into the campaign asking about the detail. What the sales guys are doing, they're capturing the data in an Excel. Now do you think the sales guy will come to office and load the data one by one, load the leads data into the Salesforce lead object one by one? Not possible. This is where you need a tool where you as an admin should be able to capture all the Excel file data in one shot, right? See, but sometimes customer does this data loading part by themselves, and sometimes you as an admin have to take care of it. So it depends. So in the both cases, right, you have to know how the data loading is to be done, so that if it is you who is taking care of the data loading job, you should be able to do it, or if it is a customer who is doing their job by themselves, you should be able to teach them, right? For both this scenario, you as an admin should know how the data loading is to be done. So Salesforce provides a couple of data loading tools, and there are a few data loading tools which Salesforce do not provide, but there are a few tools available which will help us to do the data loading. First tool that I'm going to teach you is the Workbench. It's a very user-friendly tool. You as an admin can use it very frequently, and it has a very easy user interface to use. Okay, this Workbench tool will help us to do the data load inside Salesforce. Okay, second tool that Salesforce provide is called Import Wizard. Import Wizard is again another tool which will help us to do the data loading, and this is what Salesforce provides. Dataloader.io is what I find again one more helpful tool, which I use all four of this, so I'm going to just share my experience how I have used all these things. So dataloader.io is also another kind of a website where you can go and do the data load. And then Salesforce provide one more software. It's a software, okay, which you have to install in your machine and then do it. Is called Data Loader. So this is a software which you have to install and use it, and rest of it is basically it's a web application. So Workbench, you can actually use Workbench from the website. Import wizard, don't have to download anything, it is just you have to log into Salesforce and use it. Dataloader.io is just a website where you have to go and use it. Okay, so let's get started with Workbench. Okay, I'm going to explain the Workbench first tool, and then we'll move into other tool one by one. Now before we start learning these tools, right, let's understand what do you mean by data loading. What are the operations? Now we know what is data loading. We are going to learn now what are the operations that you as an admin can perform with one of these tools that is available. Okay, first operation is called import. Import is an operation that we use very frequently. What do you mean by import? Import is basically situation. Let's say the same situation where the sales executive was actually handling a campaign, and in the campaign, suppose there are like many leads which are getting created in an Excel or in CSV, and all you need to do as an operator, as a Salesforce admin or as a data loader, is you have to import that Excel file data or the CSV file data inside Salesforce lead object. So you have bunch of record, you have like say thousands of record in an Excel file. You have to load that Excel file data inside Salesforce lead object. That's called import. Basically you are inserting. We have another operation called export. By the name only you can understand what export can do. Export is basically an operation which we do as an admin when we have to get the data from the lead object. The data is already there inside the lead object. We just have to fetch the data out of the lead object and put it in an Excel file. So you're exporting the data from Salesforce to an Excel file. That's called export operation. Then we have something called delete. Delete means, let's say you have thousands of leads, but few leads are dead leads. They are not interested to buy the product. So business said that let's just delete those leads, right? So in this case, delete operation would be useful. Moreover, Salesforce is a cloud database. Understand this, okay? Customer pays a lot of money for the Salesforce storage. So there would be a scenarios in your project, I'm pretty sure, where your customer will say, you know what, hey admin, can you please remove this data? Can you please export the data, put it in some other database and delete those data? So these data activities will be like back and forth operations in your project, right? So because Salesforce is an expensive database, definitely the old data or maybe not much needed data will not be there inside Salesforce. Business would definitely export those kind of a data which is not required in some other cheap database, and then Salesforce will just have the recent data or the needed data in that CRM. Okay, so in this situation you have to use this export and delete operations a lot. So import, export, delete. One more operation that we do is called upsert. You know what is called upsert? Upsert is basically when your CSV file or your Excel file has bunch of brand new records, and your same CSV file contained few old record that you're updating. Make sense? So instead of having two operations, by the way, one more operation that we are supposed to tell you here is called update. Update is one more operation. So sometime what happened, you have already loaded the data. For an example, let's say you got bunch of leads that you have gathered from the campaign. You have imported the data and you found out that the phone number of all the leads are blank or wrong. So you now have to update those existing lead that you have already imported inside Salesforce. This is where you have to use this update operations. This is insert and this is update. Okay, upsert is basically mix of insert plus update. which means in your same CSV file, you will have bunch of record which supposed to be inserted, imported, and you also have some few records in the same CSV file which supposed to be updated, right? If you want to perform, if you don't want to perform like multiple insert and update operation, and you want to do the same in the same transition, you want to do the insert and update operation together, then that's the operation name upsert. Okay, import, update, export, delete, upsert, these are the very frequently used operation that we do inside Salesforce. In this data loader, right, we have one more option available called hard delete. I hope you guys know that whenever you delete a record inside Salesforce, it's just a record. Okay, whenever you delete any record inside Salesforce, that record used to be there in the recycle bin for couple of days. I mean, as of now today it is only 15 days, by the way, remember the days. Okay, as of now today, it might get increase or decrease in future, I don't know when you are watching the video, but today it is 15 days. So whatever record that you delete, it would be there in the recycle bin for next 15 days, and then it will be automatically deleted. Earlier the days was like 30 days, I mean 1 month, but now it is only 15 days where Salesforce will keep the data into recycle bin. If you want, just click on this and restore. Now why I'm telling you this, because we have our next operation called hard delete. So hard delete is basically an operation where you would be if you use hard delete as the operations, then the data will not only be deleted from the object but also will be deleted from the recycle bin. Instead, if you use only delete, then the data will be deleted from the object, but it will be there in the recycle bin for how many days? 15 days. This is one question that you sometimes get in the certifications, like for how many days the record is to be there in the recycle bin. It's 15 days. Earlier it was 30 days. So just check in Google when you're giving the exam, like what is the current number right now, because Salesforce, they keep changing this number. Okay, so hard delete and delete, these are the two different operations that we perform. Okay, almost these are the operation that we will be performing in the in these tools. Okay, this video was just an introduction, like what is data loading, what are the tools that we're going to use, and what are the operations that we are going to perform through the data loading. This is what we have explained. Next video we're gonna start this exploring this tool called Workbench. All right, so I'm going to give you a scenario and then we'll implement that thing inside with the help of Workbench. All right, see you in the next video.